Now, Gen X spent the 1980s and beyond being warned that one day the machines would take over. It was called Skynet. And according to Sarah Connor, Judgment Day was supposed to happen in 1997. And maybe Hollywood was not completely wrong about that timing, because that was right around the time that the digital world started becoming more and more a part of our everyday lives. But the real Judgment Day didn't begin with killer robots and nuclear missiles. It came with a click. Today I'm showing you why Gen X's analog childhood may be the ultimate survival kit for the coming AI age, and 5 ways that we can stay capable, independent, and unmistakably human before the machines start running more of our lives than we do. And let me be clear, this is not about fighting World War III. It's about refusing to let technology replace the parts of us that make us human. Modern Skynet may look like algorithms choosing what we see, AI choosing what we read, and apps remembering everything for us so we don't have to. And we may not have metal skeletons with glowing red eyes walking the streets. Not yet, anyway. But Skynet, it didn't kick down the front door. It slipped in through the Wi-Fi. It arrived disguised as convenience. And now it lives in our phones, our cars, our televisions, our appliances. And we were warned, but we were too busy teaching our phones to recognize our faces. And the real danger is not only that artificial intelligence is becoming more capable, it's that humans are becoming less capable. What happens when we start forgetting how to remember? When we surrender our judgment, our creativity, our attention, our problem solving, and even our ability to tolerate boredom? Well, Gen X may have one advantage in this new world. We remember how to solve problems without a screen. Now, I'm not saying Skynet is coming. I'm saying it may already be here. And Gen X may be the last generation that remembers how to beat it. And just so we're clear, I'm using Skynet as a metaphor, but the conversation underneath it is very real. It's about how much of our human skills and independence we're willing to hand over to technology. So to join the resistance, we have to reclaim the skills and the instincts that we once took for granted. And here's how. Okay, number 1 is keep your analog skills alive. Gen X has a strange collection of skills that once seemed ordinary, but today they resemble survival skills. I mean, we know how to read a paper map. We can write in cursive. We can count change. We can cook from a memorized recipe. We can find entertainment without a screen. And we can talk to strangers. And when something breaks, at least some of us still have the instinct to look at it before immediately ordering a replacement. And these abilities are often dismissed as nostalgia, but they're not nostalgia. They are backup systems. Every skill that you maintain gives you one more way to function. When technology fails, changes the rules, locks you out, or decides that your device is obsolete. Know how to access your money if your phone disappears. We know that if the analog lock and the analog thermostat work just fine, we don't need the smart version. Carry some cash. Learn some basic home and car maintenance and repairs. Grow something. Repair something. and keep at least one hobby that doesn't require electricity or the internet or an account or subscription. We grew up before every object required an app, a password, and permission to track our location, and that gave us a valuable instinct. Just because something can be connected doesn't mean it should be. And the goal isn't to live as though technology doesn't exist. The goal is to remain functional when it doesn't cooperate. Skynet picked the wrong generation because we know where the circuit breaker is. Number 2, don't let technology replace your humanity. The first battle is not about robots stealing our jobs. It's about technology slowly replacing the experiences that make us human. Think about how many ordinary human moments have already been converted into screen time. We have hundreds of online connections, but fewer people we can call. We text people who are sitting in the same house. We record the sunset instead of standing there and just experiencing it. The technology isn't forcing us to do any of this, and that's what makes it so effective. It just simply offers us an easier substitute. And the point is that we cannot allow digital substitutes to replace the parts of life technology can imitate but never experience, like real friendship, shared humor, long conversations, and even ones about trivial things like the weather, time with family, curiosity about nature, music that carries a memory, the comfort of an animal or a pet that knows you. Because a machine, it can tell a joke, it can even compose music, but there won't be any emotion attached to either. It can generate a picture of a dog, but it cannot make your dog wag its tail when you come into the room. Artificial intelligence can reproduce the appearance of human life, but it cannot experience human life. And neither can we if we spend all of our time staring at a screen. So the first act of resistance is simple. Protect the parts of your life that cannot be downloaded. Have conversations that are not being recorded. Take walks without consuming information. Spend time with people without turning the moment into content. Let yourself be fully present for something that no machine can experience for you. Number 3 is keep your own judgment. AI can be incredibly useful. I mean, I use it. You probably use it. It can organize information, explain complicated subjects, generate ideas, challenge assumptions, and save hours of tedious work. The danger comes when a tool doesn't just help us think, but replaces thinking. AI can give you information. It can offer options. It can even point out weaknesses in your reasoning, but it should not make your final decisions for you. Gen X grew up having to make decisions with incomplete information. And when you don't have all the information you need, eventually you need to make a judgment call. And we had practice doing that. Now that process was a lot slower, but it forced us to develop judgment. And judgment, it's like a muscle. If you stop using it, it gets weaker. So keep yourself in the driver's seat. AI, it can help you examine your thinking, but it should not become your thinking. Skynet became self-aware, and we just need to make sure that we remain self-aware. Number 4 is protect your attention. Your judgment won't help you very much if something else controls what enters your mind all day. And that is why protecting your attention may be the most important form of modern resistance. Every time we open a social media app, a news site, a music service, or a shopping page, an algorithm begins making predictions about us. What will make you stop and linger? What will make you click? What will keep you watching? What will bring you back tomorrow? And the algorithm doesn't care whether the experience improves your life. It cares whether you remain on the platform. And after continued exposure, we can begin to confuse what is constantly recommended with what is actually important. And that's how the algorithm wins. Not by controlling your mind in some dramatic sci-fi way, but by choosing what your mind consumes all day. And it can gradually color your entire world in one shade until you forget there were ever other ways of seeing it. And these platforms are not only competing for your attention, they're creating attachment. Music apps, they encourage you to build these enormous customized playlists. Social platforms, they store decades, years of photos, conversations, memories, and connections. The more time you spend, the more time you invest customizing and saving and organizing, building inside a platform, the harder it becomes to leave it. And they know that. First, it captures your attention, then it creates attachment. And eventually, leaving feels like abandoning something you've invested years in. And seriously, think about how many hours you've lost curating a playlist that you probably only played once. So protecting your attention doesn't mean always avoiding the internet. It means becoming intentional again. Just notice when your attention has been hijacked. Notice when you're being handed another article, another song, another video, another pair of jeans that you had no intentions of buying. Just search for what you want instead of automatically accepting whatever's being served to you. And choose when you're finished. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Stop following accounts that repeatedly leave you feeling angry or anxious, feeling inadequate, or the ones that keep you up late at night. Create parts of the day when no platform is allowed to decide what deserves your attention. Because your attention, it's not an unlimited resource. And every hour that you give away is an hour that you don't get back. Okay, number 5 is to stay in charge. This video isn't anti-technology. It's pro-human. Technology can improve our lives. And I'm not pretending that everything was better before computers. We spent half our lives lost because someone told us to turn left at the gas station instead of right. We waited all day for repair people because nobody could text us a 2-hour window. We stood in lines to do things that now take 30 seconds. And we spent entire afternoons looking for one piece of information that today we could find instantly. What is interesting is that somehow we had time for all of that and still felt less time-starved than we do today. Technology is not the enemy, but dependence, that's the risk. Technology should be your employee, not your boss. You should decide when it works and when it gets turned off, and which parts of your life remain yours alone, because not every single thing in life needs a technological intervention. And that means occasionally asking yourself some questions. Do I own this device, or does it own me? What happens if this service disappears? Am I actually saving time, or am I filling the saved time with just more digital noise? Is this technology making me more capable, or is it making me less able to function without it? And there's a financial side to all of this too, because one of the best ways to resist a fragile, automated, subscription-based world is to build a life that's harder to disrupt. And you can do that by paying off your debt, living below your means, creating an emergency fund, owning fewer things that demand monthly payments, protecting your health, your privacy, your relationships, and your time. Maybe this is Gen X's silent resistance. Not marching in the streets and not making headlines, just refusing to become more dependent every year. Building lives that are just simply harder to break. Because I don't only want to know how to survive an AI-driven future, I also want to know how to build a life so resilient that even Skynet can't ruin my retirement. Now, in the early 90s, when I watched T2, I wanted to be Sarah Connor. And most of the time today, I still want to be Sarah Connor. I mean, come on. And yes, the intensity, that was part of it. But it wasn't just the weapons or the muscles or the action scenes. Sarah Connor refused to become a victim of the future. She saw what might be coming and decided to become stronger before it arrived. And I think we could borrow a little bit of that mindset. We can use technology without worshiping it. We can benefit from artificial intelligence without allowing ourselves to become artificial humans. Skynet's mission was to destroy humanity. Ours is to make sure we never stop being human. AI can calculate faster, it can search faster, write faster, analyze faster, but it cannot live our lives for us. So let's become more curious, more creative, more compassionate, more present, and harder to manipulate. And as Sarah Connor once said, there is no fate but what we make for ourselves. So stay human. And when Skynet makes itself known, just aim for the router. And let me know your tips for defeating Skynet, all you Sarah and John Connor wannabes. Or would you just rather have your own Model 101 or T1000? Hasta la vista, babies. Don't do that.